I'm going to shock you.
I don't think you're gonna shock
No,
me.
I think I am going to shock you. This is better than the first movie.
No. No, it was better than the first movie.
Yeah.
That's why I said you're not gonna shock me. I knew you were gonna say.
Really?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say.
Because the movie was still god awful,
The
but
only way you were gonna shock me is if you said that it was a great movie.
no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't try to swerve you like we did have with the Deadpool and Risen. But no. The third movie in the Divergent series,
It's better than the first.
it's better than the first. But then again, a lot of things are better than the first. But I'll tell you why. Why it's better than the first? Because things are happening.
Yeah, there's
Think-
fight scenes and shit.
There is actually.
They go beyond the wall. They don't just talk about it. They go beyond the wall. No matter how stupid it looks, they still go beyond the wall.
So at least things are happening.
Yeah, the shit happens.
So, there you are, movie. You finally did something. Now, whether or not this.
Why it's happening, how it's happening, where it's going, all that shit still doesn't
No.
add up at all. But at least they do it.
At least there is an attempt at a story being told. I cannot say the same thing for the first movie, which is still stands heads and tails. Well, I wouldn't say heads and tails, but it still stands as the worst movie we've ever seen on Stage Versus.
I think after, apparently people loving it so much that they made three, by the third one, you'd kind of expect them to have the budget to do things, to have action scenes and stuff. And there was no excuse at that point.
Yeah, and and for full transparency's sake, neither one of us has seen the second movie.
Nope.
No, like
So maybe there was a few things that would have explained some of the
Maybe.
the completely out of nowhere events that happened,
but I don't think that like us not having seen the second movie.
but not a lot of them.
Yeah, like I don't think the fact that either one of us have seen the second movie really does the film a disservice in the long run because
Not really.
because it's kind of a self-enclosed story, especially when they kind of shift the focus of the villain. Since like apparently Kate Winslet got Ghost during the second movie and just decided like no, she's not going to be attached to this project and good for her. But by that same token, shame on you, Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
Shame on you for coming here and being the new villain, the new actor who is too good to be in this movie.
I know you came out of your comedy scene. You were climbing up the great mountain of great acting, and you were really making some progress, clearing some area, and then you had to go and fall into this shit.
I mean, like a paycheck's a paycheck,
Oh fuck.
as the great Michael Caine would tell you. But at a certain point, the dignity has to come into play, or at least the barest semblance of taste. I mean, Kate Winslet being in the first movie and second movie, I'm sure, had to be probably the absolute nadir for this woman, and she was in freaking movie 43.
Yes, she was, and you will never stop reminding
No.
people who participated.
I will not stop. I will not stop banging this drum every time I see an actor who was in movie 43, whether it be Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and there's Chris Pratt, and it's like, you wanted to shit on your wife in movie 43. You're never going to escape that. Not with this guy, buddy.
Damn right.
But Jeff Bridges, yeah, I have to make sure that I'm saying Jeff Daniels and not Jeff Bridges. I always get the Jeffs mixed up. Jeff Daniels, but the last time I saw Jeff Daniels was in Looper, which was a pretty good movie. I mean, it bordered on being great, but some time, like every time you have a time travel movie, you're always wrestling against logic. So with that aside, the movie was still pretty good, and I liked Jeff Daniels in it. But here,
He was also good in another movie that we don't like very much, and that was Steve Jobs.
oh yeah,
He was. I mean, I'm not trying to give credit to the movie. I'm giving credit to Jeff Daniels, not for appearing in it, just because he was the only really
no,
most outstanding
no,
actor.
Jeff Daniels and surprisingly Seth Rogen
And Seth Rogen. Yes, Seth Rogen was
as
was the
Wozniak.
most outstanding because that was I think the very first time that we saw him commit to such a serious role.
Yeah,
Whereas, Jeff Daniels had started paving the way.
Like, you could see Jeff Daniels
this,
being in a Steve Jobs movie.
Well, like with Looper.
Yeah, Looper. But you would not believe Seth Rogen for a moment was going to be in something like this. Especially when his next movie is going to be a freaking Sausage Party. You saw the trailer for that too, didn't you?
I don't think so.
A Sausage Party is a CG animated movie in the style of like a Disney animated movie.
Definitely have not seen
But
that.
it's rated R. And
oh, boy.
I know. That's probably one we're going to see.
It's like a Pixar style?
Yeah, like Pixar style animated movie.
What kind of... I mean, what is it, anthropomorphic?
It's anthropomorphic food. And they all figure out, like, yeah, I know.
Oh, God.
I know, like...
Oh, God.
I know, you're thinking food fight,
Food
right?
fight, yes.
You're thinking food fight, but it's not going to be that bad. At least the trailer is 10 times funnier than anything unintentional or intentional in food fight.
Is there a daddy that needs or wants sausage in this?
That remains to be seen.
Okay.
But I'm somewhat hopeful for the movie. I'm somewhat hopeful, but I think we're getting off track here again. This is Allegiant, the third movie in the ever-growing Divergent series, not unlike Herpes.
Yes. Leave your urgent in the comments, I guess.
There's no urgency to watching Allegiance.
We think we've come up with just about all the...
Yeah.
Everybody's had their shot at Divergent, Detergent, Emergent, Convergent,
Yeah.
Insurgent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think we did that last episode, actually.
Because, I mean, it's not like that's what, the creators are doing for the names of the movies. It's...
No, it's just
is there going to be a movie for everything they can come up with that rhymes with urgent?
But so picking up from where we left off, Triss, who, by the way, I've grown to loathe.
Really?
The actress playing Triss, I don't care to know her name because I only see her in these movies. It's not like the other chucklehead in this fucking movie, Miles Teller, who's quickly, spreading himself out he's like a scroll. He's just like in like other people's movies where he is not welcomed. So, like
he was really loud in this movie about his disdain for Miles Teller.
Like he shows up in the movie, and I just do one of these.
Really loud at a really quiet point in the movie. It was like a slow clap, but clearly that idle motion. That guy, I will always maintain, has the most punchable face that Hollywood has ever shat out. But I know you want to say Andrew Garfield. But look, if you do here, I'm going to put a side-by-side comparison right now of Andrew Garfield and Miles Teller, and tell me, who do you want to punch? Vote now in the comments. I don't know which to point at. Which one's which?
This right here is Miles Teller. This one...
you're putting it, switching it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be like... Yeah. Now you're going to switch it around, though. I know it. Now you're going to switch it around, so I'm pointing at fucking Miles Teller.
Miles Teller's over here. Miles Teller's over here.
You're not going to fool me. You're not going to fool me.
But
yeah,
like Miles Teller is still in this movie. He's still an insufferable jackass, and even though the movie tries to paint it out to be that's the point of his character, is that he's the scumbag that everyone just puts up for no reason, even though he screws them over.
Well, yeah, in this one at least he does go heel.
Yeah, like he goes. Not that he didn't go full heel in the first movie either. He was part of this plot. He was part of the plot against the everyone, ostensibly, against all of Dauntless. I can't believe I remember that plot of that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like he was
somehow he keeps making it.
Like he just keeps inserting himself into the villain's plan and just being this grim of worm tongue asshole. And if it weren't for the fact that like the characters are just the rock stupidest fucktards when it comes to this character, they would have just put 2 in his 10 hole and just bam.
Yeah, but they're like, he's the only one trying to be funny in this movie, though.
And that just makes him even worse.
Because he isn't.
Yeah, like, nothing is more annoying. And
I know I'm trying to be funny.
I know. I'm opening myself up pretty soon. Like, for somebody who is trying to be funny.
Oh, you are opening yourself up. Just,
Yeah, like, you should know, Bennett. Boom!
You should know, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm stealing that thunder before you can use it.
Mm-hmm.
But with all of that said, Miles Teller, my hatred of Miles Teller, notwithstanding, the actress playing Beatrice Triss is.
I mean, if that name is
I know Triss.
Triss.
I have no idea how she is as a person in real life, but I will quote Amy when she said that she looks like one of the girls that used to bully her in high school.
You know, yeah.
She looks like a mean girl. She does look like a freaking mean girl, and that's probably not her fault. But I just take a look at her and just saying like, wow, you were probably the worst of the mean girls because you're not pretty enough to just be a mean girl. You have to be nastier to fit in with their clique.
She's the kind of mean girl who always put on the most contrived of smiles to her, to the parents, the adults, and the teachers, and then as soon as they're out of the picture, just you're gonna pay for that.
And that's why I can't really come down too hard on Hollywood focus groups, because when they try to cast the roles in these big budget blockbusters, they're trying to find the actors and actresses that people want to see and interact with. And when you try to chuck that all out the window and just try to cast the movie with that,
like Jennifer Lawrence had an unconventional appearance. For an action flick, So let's try the same thing. It's like, hey, it worked for the water boy. Let's try it with the towel boy. Surely.
I have no idea where you're going with that, but my point is that when you try to cast a movie without the regards of whether or not people like looking at them, you get into this weird area where you're just like, I don't care what happens to this character because this actress's face is just irritating me. And I will fully admit that it's irrational of me. It's completely irrational of me to feel this way.
It's an irritating face. It really is.
It's the majority of the cast are irritating actors because they always have this look of either the guy is way too pretty and way too smoldering.
And then you had Skarsgård.
Oh yeah.
I forget, not Alexander, but his brother. I forgot the name.
Stellan. Was it Stellan or Peter? I always get the Skarsgårds mixed up because there's like 3 different Skarsgårds.
The youngest, I believe.
Yeah.
He was in that Hemlock Grove show.
Hemlock Grove?
Yeah, Hemlock Grove.
Yeah, Hemlock Grove. But like everyone in this cast who has any kind of screen time is either the most like milquetoast Hollywood pretty boy, like the male lead. I never care to learn the actor's name because I haven't seen him in anything, and I probably will never see him again.
Yeah.
Outside of it's same thing with like he's going to go down the road of Taylor Lautner. Just give it 2 more years. He's probably already on it. He's Taylor Lautnering at this very moment. Just mark my words on this one. The same thing with the lead actress and like her black best friend who shows up every once in a while to give the movie a sense of diversity.
Yeah.
She just kind of chimes in for like one line and says, "Hey, Triss, how you feeling?" It's like, "Oh, I'm doing all right." Wait a minute, her brother just runs in and then just advances the plot, just fucking like cold cocks her right in her fucking face. It's like, "That's enough out of you, darky!" Bam.
Jesus. Wow.
I know.
Man, Triss.
Ugh.
That's the name. I just remember that's the name of the my Dragon Age Inquisition character.
Oh yes, it is.
Who we made to be basically her choices were always to claim to be the divine, or to be chosen by the divine, and then she would immediately in the next dialogue. She would say, "I am not claiming to be the divine, chosen by the divine." So just constantly contradicting yourself like that. It was,
and then that's kind of like Triss in this movie because, like, apparently in the second movie, Kate Winslet got disposed of and was killed, and so now the remains of Chicago has a power vacuum, and now the factions are just crumbling, and it's like, we hate everyone, but we need to kill people because who are we allowed to hate? Who are we allowed to hate?
They really, really need somebody to hate.
Yeah, like, wow, is this supposed to be a metaphor of our tribalism and the man's inability to recognize our differences or what makes us a beautiful patchwork quilt of beautiful perfection?
They need somebody to hate so bad that they go over the wall and go out into the great unknown blasted lands to find new people to hate.
That's what happens.
We gotta hate somebody. You think there's somebody out there that we can fucking hate?
Oh man, the best part about the best / worst part about this sequel is that things are happening, but it bears no like things are happening by the tenuous definition of things happening. Like they escape the wall because they escape the city because I think there was like a message playing at the beginning saying that, excuse me, that there is something beyond the wall that was meant to be, like they were meant to be an experiment.
There's a reason that there's a wall. We're not going to say, but there's a reason that there's a wall.
No, they did use in the beginning message at the beginning of the movie. They did specify that they were a part of an experiment. I remember that.
Oh, did that voice say that?
Yeah, like the voice, like the city was supposed to be an experiment, and regardless of what that message is, periodically stating all throughout the city, the pretty boy's mom, who is now the de facto matriarch of the factions or the faction list or whatever happened in the second movie, just says like, why don't we just we could go beyond the wall, but maybe we shouldn't.
Well, the message,
and then we should kill everyone who tries to go.
The message was, hey guys, I know that we got pretty pissed off about the faction thing before, but maybe there was a reason why they decided to do the factions, so that maybe there's a reason that we shouldn't go beyond the wall.
And then another splinter group just like happens within the faction list, saying that we are allegiant to the factions. The namesake of the movie is like this throwaway explanation of this forced sense of enmity. It's like this. What a beautiful unintended metaphor for this movie. Just a bunch of people gnashing around, just needing something to do, but with nothing really to do, so they just decide to cannibalize each other. And that's
ziplining was got boring, so
they
started trying wall climbing. Everything is very related to parkour at some point in this.
Yeah, scaling the walls and
shitty obvious walking on a normal flat slope, non-slope.
Yeah, and there goes our eight. I think I believe that role was once played by Sandra Oh in the first movie. I don't think that was Sandra Oh in the third movie. You think Sandra Oh would have come back just to have herself killed in the first 20 minutes of the movie? I mean, it could have been, but her hair was so different, and I never got a good look at her. It might have been Sandra Oh.
I don't care.
Could have been a completely different actress. Correction here, if there need be.
So yeah, they get past the wall. They go out and they find. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. What's his face?
Miles Teller.
No.
When Miles Teller bullies his way into the escape route, saying I could have just hey.
Oh yes, yeah.
Hey guys, they got an escaped prisoner right here. He was threatening.
They got Dobson here.
It's like threatening to call them out on the escape, so they just joined it. What a terrible way to...
Seriously. Fucking... I mean, when the whole time, Action Jackson could have just cold cocked him out.
I know,
because he takes on, hordes of enemies with his fists.
He could literally disarm and disable people with his bare hands. Why couldn't he just punch him in the throat and just say,
seriously.
No, we need to have our worm tongue. We need to annoy Bennett White with Miles Teller's face. I swear to God, I believe that one day, if Gavin ever got the power and money, he would pay Miles Teller to just sit by my bed to make sure that he is the first thing I see when I wake up.
I thought you were going to say that Gavin would get plastic surgery to look like Miles Teller so that you love him all the more.
No. He would never do something like that. He wouldn't spite his own face to look like Miles Teller. He would just get the poor son of a bitch who looks like Miles Teller, to annoy the fuck out of me. That's the kind of person Gavin is. As you could tell, we've reached fuck Gavin o'clock.
Yeah,
it's about that time.
I thought we might have been a little early.
No, it's nearing the 20-minute mark. I'm guessing he never lasts past the 15 minute.
No. Not a chance. I don't think he lasts past the 3rd minute.
I should create a new graphic where it's just Gavin's smiling face and it's fuck Gavin o'clock time.
Yes!
Oh, Lord in heaven.
So
Save us from this movie.
so yeah, so that happens, and they were being pursued
By the
before
Dauntless.
they got over the wall by the Dauntless, was it?
Like the Dauntless guards or the factionless, I don't know.
They have a jeep, and there's this like blonde, mohawked, faux hawked, short hawked guy, whatever the fuck it is when you have that little strip, and they manage to lose them by going over the wall, and somehow, like a few minutes later, he drives by like he came from a completely opposite direction.
They Mad Max it there, like he ramps
He leaps
over.
up a slope.
Yeah, and he just looks down and like, ha!
And they slow down to a really like slow frame on him for like 15 seconds of him just like looking out of the Jeep. And them looking back. Him looking out of the Jeep. Them looking back. Like, okay, I get it. I get it.
My question is, how the fuck did they find her?
How did they get the Jeep over the wall?
Well, they had a door. Look, they had a
They do have a door?
They do have a gate, but they gated it off. So they've got through that gate. But my question is, how the fuck did they find them?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, like they ran into a canyon and then they moved out there into the blasted wilderness. And then the movie just turns into Fallout 4. Spoilers for those who haven't played Fallout 4, but you find out that...
I haven't played Fallout 4.
Well, now you played Fallout 4 because you've seen the Allegiant.
Ah, shit.
So, yeah, secret society that's been monitoring what's been happening up on the surface, or in Chicago in this case. And now, all of a sudden, a father-like figure tries to convince you to join their side because reasons. In the movie's reasoning is that Triss is genetically perfect, which I would beg to differ.
Perfect.
I would beg to differ.
She's genetically pure.
Genetically,
to quote them.
Oh yeah, like that is a genetically pure.
Yeah.
Like if that wasn't like loaded terminology, I was half expecting it to go full Third Reich. It's like, you, Triss, are genetically pure and are the final keystone in the final solution.
What about 4? He's pretty close. What about fucking Dreadlocks girl?
A dreadlock.
What the fuck her name is?
Oh yeah, like some rando girl who's only, like, she only exists to, I think at one point or another, because these fucking books suck. Hold on 1 second.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Really? That's coming into use?
Why not? When else are we
Again?
So, this motherfucker, Gavin, gave me this fucking book, and this part and parcel of why fuck Gavin a clock exists, and I don't put it past them that in the book series that there was a fucking love triangle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past it. I wouldn't put it past this author, but and then it just got lost in translation during the movie because she had a lot of scenes for doing absolutely nothing.
I think it probably was with the Skarsgård brother. I'm sure it looks like a handsome Buscemi. Mm-hmm. If that isn't contradicting.
Yeah. So they're the plot. I'll try to summarize the rest of the plot as follows, because it's I'm condensing like an hour and a half of shit into about 2 sentences here, and I'm not going to miss anything. Watch this. So Jeff Daniels tells Triss that I'm a good guy and you're genetically pure, and together we'll save the rest of Chicago. He's lying, of course, because he is actually. What are you?
I'm looking at the time.
Oh, yeah. He is lying, of course, because he is actually in charge of the administration of Chicago, and all he's doing is just bilking more money out of the quote-unquote foundation. You can fill in the rest of the blanks from there. We have a new villain in Jeff Daniels who doesn't bite the bullet.
You're done?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, well, because...
Why'd I bother? That was like 15 seconds.
It was like 15 seconds. I just explained I explained the climax of the plot in 15 seconds. Good guy says he's good. Bad guy says he's good. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, like great plots often use such simple mechanics, but when they're trying so hard to like put doubt in the viewer's mind, when it's so obviously not, you just feel insulted. Like, I was like, I was watching this movie and I'm looking Jeff Bridges kind of sleepwalk through this movie,
Yeah.
giving the occasional hammy performance. I mean, credit to Kate Winslet. She hammed it up when she could. She was trying to have fun with this movie.
Yeah.
But Jeff Daniels looks like he would rather be anywhere else. And probably because he would. He would rather be anywhere else.
And the scene where she finds out that he's, a bad guy, right at that scene, they cut to them both in this tiny little shuttle pod, and they're just like this close to each other, like they're closer than we were in this little frame. Like they're just sitting neck and neck, and he's like, he's just kind of going like, and she's going, "You lied." He's like, "Yeah, but shit gotta get done."
Yeah. It's like, it was the most awkward, like, post-scene, because, like, if this were any other movie, that would be the point where Trish tries to break away.
Yeah.
But no, like, Trish just says, like, I hate you, but I'm gonna live in your house for a while.
Seriously, she really stays connected to him for a long time. It's really weird.
God, it really is.
And then there's the bubbles.
Oh God, the bubbles!
Don't miss the bubbles.
No, let's not miss the bubbles. Before we have any mind to to miss track on this one, let's talk about the use of sci-fi in this movie. Sci-fi devices. So, realizing that this is supposed to be the future, we finally get our first real taste of sci-fi weaponry. It could have been in the second movie. We didn't see it, but like, it certainly wasn't there in the first movie. Just it was a lot of punches and kicks,
Yeah.
and maybe the bare semblance of like holograms and like towards the end of the movie. But here in the third movie, we get our like these little spinning floating discs, which you've seen a bunch of times in other like in video games, especially.
They basically look like this.
They look
Discs, little drones. They go around that look like a donut.
yeah. It's,
Black donuts.
actually, I just realized for the viewers at home, you literally just pulled a donut out of negative space.
Yes. We have a lot of you can't see it, but right here, it's just like this wall of props. Just
Yeah,
anything you want.
yeah, let's just Tex Avery this shit. Just pull it out of hammer space. But so we got these donut-looking drones that apparently could do everything. They're like little cameras, so they could scout out ahead. They could create bulletproof shields, like it was freaking Halo. And
Those things were fucking God mode, man.
Yeah, I know.
You did not need any of this movie to happen with those.
Yeah.
You did not. One person with 3 of those motherfuckers could have stormed into any of those cities and just fucked the shit out of everyone.
Mm-hmm. And the best part about them is that for some reason or another, they're capable of creating this amniotic sac that surrounds you and makes you float. And you float like a bad ad from the 90s. You're just going,
Yeah.
ah! The like Gavin.
Hey!
Gabe was like in his seat dying when he was seeing what was happening.
Man, I haven't laughed like that in a theater for a while.
You know, unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
Yeah, like something unintentionally stupid happened, something like that.
But it was
gotta...
one thing. It just kept going. It was one person. There was another person doing it, and then they were just floating next to the airship. Mm-hmm. Oh my god!
They kind of look like they belong in a freaking Spy Kids movie.
Yes, yes, or oh god, that one that was directed by Rodriguez, this kid.
Shark Boy versus Lava Girl.
Yes, no, or Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Shark Boy. Yeah, Shark Boy.
It
and Lava
was
Girl.
like that kind of.
Oh,
weird.
I could just imagine them
graphics.
like just floating by on these air transports, just singing, "I Floop is a bad man, save us! Floop is a bad man, save us!"
Like you remember? I remember from oh god, you don't want to remember it, but from Maleficent, where she uses her magic to float the Prince Charming guy.
Oh yeah,
in
literally.
the air.
Yeah,
just kind of puts him on automated floating.
Yeah.
That's what it's like that, but with like a little undulating sack around you, and it looks like really bad, like cut and paste clip. It just, yeah, it is really shit,
Oh God.
and it is weird. It is so awkward and weird, and unintentionally hilarious. Like I wish we could just show you right here
There's just
because
some
we cannot explain how ridiculous this looks.
Yeah, and the fact that that scene immediately segued into like we have to decontaminate you, even though you have been perfectly fine inside this environment for a long time, and there's no proof that there's
Nickelodeon Choice Award you with Goop and
like you have to strip down naked, burn your clothes in an incinerator.
Oh yes, he's like strip down. This
like this
from the comm.
Like this dehumanized, detached, like disembodied voice from on high.
Takes her jacket off and there's like nothing underneath it at all. And,
yeah,
you know, she a second later she's naked. It's like put your hand in the hole. And she's like looks over there. There's like this big glory hole. It's like, put your hand in the hole.
I'm just imagining on the other side is a Wayne's brother just, and then all of a sudden there's a dick in the other side.
Yes.
Oh!
It's a scary movie too.
It was Scary Movie 1.
Or was it 1?
Yeah, it was 1. So I was thinking, like, okay, why are they following Triss with this? Knowing the intended audience for this, they would want to see Pretty Boy undress and get into the shower.
Yeah,
and then, like, halfway through the movie, they just randomly cut to Pretty Boy in that exact same situation.
I'm pretty sure that was a body double for her during that silhouette scene and everything. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But the movie just immediately cuts to Pretty Boy in that exact same situation, being all like, I'm naked.
Yeah, that's...
But in apropos of nothing. Like,
oh wait, no, it wasn't immediately following that.
But it wasn't following that. No, like
it was
we
way
were
later.
Like, an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
It cuts right back to that. Like there's
like they have to keep coming back here and taking showers for some reason.
No, I wasn't even they didn't come back and take a shower. I think it was that the editor probably thought oh, we need it. Here's this clip of him showering. Wait a minute, I didn't put it in the scene where they were showering. Oh no, I need to put it in the movie somewhere. Let's have it where he's escaping the compound. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Why not just put it next to the one where she was doing it?
I don't know.
They both had to do it.
They both had to do it, even though...
So, by the way they edited it, it looks like they have to keep... Because of where they put it, it looks like they... And for all intents and purposes, they have to come back and keep doing this.
It's like if I had to putting a single word to describe this movie, it feels it's not quite frustrating, because in order for it to be frustrating, there would have to be the semblance that it could have been a good movie, and I don't think
there's no pretense that this was
good. Yeah, like the obvious the obvious themes that the movie are working with, and just how they down and out fully verbally explain it to the audience about this forced need for enmity, and how there's always somebody there, blah blah blah. It always feels like there's no way that this movie could be as intellectually as it aspires to be. No. I mean, all right, I'll put this over Twilight. At least it has aspirations of intellectual pursuit. Not like not like freaking Twilight, where it was just.
It's the plot's very drawing board.
Yeah,
it's very drawing board. It's not done. It's not good to go yet.
Yeah, so when you're literally doing something with the special, and the plot makes no bones about the fact that she is the special,
and when your progression is that the special is more special, or the only special, the most special.
That's the arc of the movie. That's the arc for this character.
When that's... And there's never... It's like, oh no, it turns out I wasn't actually special, or I wasn't this, the special, or...
At least you can, at least that's a development. But by the end of this movie, all this movie proved is that Jeff Daniels just replaced Kate Winslet as the big bad.
Seriously, in the first movie, she was made out to be divergent. Yeah. That was really special. I mean, okay. She was special to begin with because she was...
divergent.
No. Before that, she was going to be in a faction. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of a special thing in itself. It's something that sets you apart from other people.
Well, in
Your
the
faction.
all right. There was the faction and the factionless, and the factionless were basically street urchins.
Yeah, but then there's different factions.
Yeah.
And being a certain faction, that's a defining thing. It's special. You have a specialty. Then so that's one thing. Then that wasn't enough. She has to be divergent, of course. So now she's more special, and then she has to become pure, perfect. Perfect divergent or pergent. I don't know, but it just keeps progressing, and there's never any weakness. There's no flaw here in any of this. It's just she becomes more interesting and more special and more perfect. This is not good writing.
No, there's no there's not even the semblance of a character flaw for her. She's just like this tumbling you know that you have written a boring character when the third movie has your main character doing fuck all because there's no arc for her to complete. There's no real precedence for her that needs her specifically. She's just sitting around waiting for Jeff Bridges to bring her to someplace. And that's all she does for the movie.
Tell me, what is her being special do for her? When does that ever come into play? What does she do in the movie that represents, that shows how special she is? She doesn't do shit.
The whole point of her being genetically pure, I'll never get over that.
I know, plot shit. But...
Yeah, the whole notion of her being genetically pure tantamounts to her being presented to a blink and you'll miss it council saying see, the experiment was a success. And then the movie quickly brushes this whole plot buildup that the movie's been using for the last hour just completely out the window.
Right into the shuttle.
Yeah.
Where they're just sitting next to each other and she's like, you lied to me, didn't you? Yeah, I had a reason. And then they just go back to his place and hang. It's like, I mean, seriously, she doesn't do shit. I mean, remember in the first movie, at least, she had to use her divergent traits to escape or to solve situations that needed to be outside the box thinking in order to get past. Nobody else could do that. Nobody else could see it the way she did because she was divergent. She doesn't do any of that in this, and yet she's more than divergent in this movie. She's
genetically
pure. She's genetically perfect, pure.
The only one. She is the most specialist of specials.
Yes, she is the most specialist of specials, and then some. So, and yet Pretty Boy guy does way the fuck more than she does. He's the man of action. Mm-hmm. She doesn't do... She's just plot.
So,
she hardly has any lines.
Yeah, and actually, that might be for the best, because she's such a terrible actress anyway.
The most lines she has is when she's giving speeches as a hologram on the side of a building. Or a projector, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah. So the whole plot is building to Miles Teller selling out Chicago for the promise of having a softer bed to lie in when all things are said and done. And which I kind of love. I love the fact that the movie is just embracing what a little shit he is. I still hate Miles Teller, but at least you make a good use of your Miles Teller.
Yeah.
And so he grim and worm tongues over to Pretty Boy's mom, who is, again, the de facto matriarch, and just saying, hey, you know this war that's been building in Chicago? Why don't you use this gas that makes everyone forget? Yeah, I know, it sounds horrible, but... You have ramifications and moral quandaries of doing it, but just do it. And she does it.
Yep.
And so...
I love that. She's about to push the button. He's like, push the button. Really cool shit will happen. Cool shit will happen.
The line was, if you push that button, and then there's this pause, and then I leaned over to Gabe, and it's like, real cool shit will happen.
That would have been nice.
Which, in my mind's eye, I'm always imagining a better movie when I'm watching terrible movies, is that moment where she just does this cartoon head whip right to his face. Really? And then just in one motion just does one of these. Boom!
Yes.
Just press the button with her head. And then she just keeps pressing it with her...
Oh, man, and all these fucking holograms and these freaking virtual reality bullshit.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, the buttons were all holograms that you push. Hardly anything in this movie is tangible.
Except for the ruins. The ruins were tangible.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh,
And then there's the precog shit.
oh yeah,
Well, not precog, but it looks like the thing.
it looked like the precogs in Minority Report.
Minority Report, yeah.
But apparently, how this underground, well, not underground, but how the secret laboratory keeps tabs on Chicago is that they get into these pods and then they digitally project themselves into Chicago, even though there's no physical means by which they even could capture live footage with what's happening.
There's so much bullshit in this. I mean, the virtual reality shit, the remote viewing, you know, the hologram for that looks exactly basically as the force fields. It looks just like the force fields that they use to, you know, put people in or to make a button that you can press. It looks exactly the same. So what exactly is the difference between these, you know, pieces of technology? These, what kind of era were they in that they had all of this technology, and yet, what's the problem? They have everything. Mm-hmm. They could like make food like in the Star Trek, you know.
Yeah, like. As far as
what's the problem here?
Is like as far as the sci-fi is concerned, it's like I'm trying to get invested in the world, but the actors are failing pretty much everything for me. The like here's a phenomena. Here's a phenomena that I've noticed when you're watching bad movies. When you know that the movie is going to be bad, whether by the actors phoning it in or the writing failing or anything like that, and in this case for this movie, it's both. You realize you were picking up little flaws that you wouldn't care and or notice if the movie did better.
All you can do is pick up the fucking flaws.
Yeah, like
it's riddled with them.
Yeah, but like I'm not talking about like worldview flaws. I'm talking about like mechanical flaws that makes no sense. Like when they're on top of the wall in the beginning of the movie, and then the could be Sandra Oh, could not be Sandra Oh just gets sniped from a million miles away from that guy with the assault rifle, even though she was on top of a wall and he was right down at the bottom, and she was far enough on the wall that there would be no vantage point for him to get a clean shot to his head. So like stuff like that. Also, like when it rained over in the plains and it rained rusty blood, and by virtue of the fact that time doesn't seem to be any different from when they escaped the wall to there, you realize that. So this is the first time they've ever seen rusty red rain. Why didn't it rain in Chicago, even though they're within walking distance?
Yeah.
Little shit like that
Concentrated rain.
Yeah, like the little shit like that wouldn't have bothered you in a better movie. All of a sudden, just comes to the forefront.
Yeah.
When you are presented with a movie that has sleepwalking acting and just either dull writing, uninvolved writing, or just plain terrible writing. And I would categorize the script and the plain terrible. I think I knew the moment where the script kind of went, and it was one line. It was Miles Teller's line, and that's when they all looked at the new utopia that's been keeping tabs on them at the first time while they were doing their freaking amniotic sac flyover.
Yes.
Miles Teller just says, "Gadzooks! Gadzooks? Gadzooks?
Gadzooks?
What is he, a prospector from the 19th century? Gadzooks, Sheriff!
Shucky ducky.
We got ourselves a gold nugget the size of your thumb!"
Man.
It was one word! One word! And
I'd say that the movie started to go downhill with the name.
Oh yeah, but like, I mean, like as far as like the script to the was just dumb. It wasn't god awful.
Yeah.
This was a god awful script.
Yeah. Oh man, but at least there was shit going on.
At least plotting wise,
like Pretty Boy had to, do some like actual stunts, I think there. So
yeah, and then Skarsgård had a face turn like seemingly out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone under Jeff Daniels' thumb hates Jeff Daniels, and yet they put up with him for some reason.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but this movie wasn't good enough for brother Skarsgård.
Mm. I began this review by saying that it's not as bad as the first one, and yet all my arguments are kind of making it sound worse than the first one. But if you ask me point blankly, which I'd rather sit through, I'd rather sit through this than the first one.
Yeah.
Because
it's a little less longer.
It's not as long. Things are happening. I mean,
and you can laugh at that bubble scene.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you show that again. It won't be as, as guttural, but
no.
I didn't see that coming.
No one of rational mind could have seen that coming.
Rational mind could have seen that coming. But I could still laugh at that again.
Yeah, so could I. But
I wish that there was more of that shit in the movie.
Yeah, like if there was more dumb visual shit like that,
more dumb shit, this could have been.
This could have been like Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah.
Like I need to see Jupiter Ascending again. I think we
do. We do. I didn't appreciate it as much the first time as because I think I actually was hoping it would be good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you? That presents an interesting conundrum. Like, what is more surreal? Going into a movie expecting it to be good, and then you find out it's like this. I'm staring at the face of God. Terrible movie. Yeah, because Jupiter Ascending, I think we can safely say that Jupiter Ascending has reached that level of like Battlefield Earth.
It's definitely
of that.
Except that it's way more entertaining than Battlefield Earth. It is never a dull moment. Battlefield Earth has some of those slow moments, drags but not Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, but Jupiter Ascending was like full tilt, just this full tilt white knuckle ride of a movie that.
And that was like my first Eddie Redmayne movie too.
Oh man, you saw that before The Theory of Everything. Ugh.
I haven't seen The Theory of Everything. For me, it would be more like I saw it before The Danish Girl. But now going back and watching that, knowing who he is just going to be.
Yes. But back to my original question, like, what is more surreal? Going to a movie, getting Jupiter Ascending, or expecting a bad movie and getting Jupiter Ascending, like a really, really bad, dumb movie, and then
getting something just hilariously bad.
Yeah. Because I think that...
I think the latter's more surprising.
Like, really? You would think, like, expecting a bad movie...
Well, going into it, I wasn't expecting it to be good. I was hoping it would be good. I mean, I remember I had said earlier that looking at Mila Kunis... Kunis, am I saying that right?
Mila,
I
think...
Yeah. Looking at Mila from the trailers, I said she had a really dead, lifeless look in her eyes. Like she was not liking the script. She was not liking her lines at all. And that really, that worried me. I was prepared.
Well, I mean, like, there's no movie that we don't go in where we hope it's good. Because I think that's a secret hope that every moviegoer has. But as far as the expectation, a reasonable expectation, well, let's keep that underlined.
I do have a secret hope. I admit, I have this really, I don't like to talk about it, but I have a secret hope that when I go to a movie, that it might actually be good. Is that weird?
Oh.
I don't know.
I mean, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Should I get therapy for that?
Yeah, you should be ashamed.
All right.
Like, how dare you be within 3 feet of me? But I would say that, like, going into Divergent, I wasn't expecting, like, the first movie, I wasn't expecting good things, but I wasn't expecting just this funeral dirge of a march through fucking hip deep swamp and mud that was that movie, and this wasn't this movie, and that wasn't nearly as trudgeworthy, and it's not nearly as a miserable sit. And for that reason alone, I can't say that it's a worse film because it isn't. But on the other hand, mechanics-wise, at least Triss in the first movie had an arc. It wasn't an interesting.
Yeah.
At least there was this.
The special did special things.
Yeah, in this movie she didn't. And
nothing.
Now, whether you could blame that on the book or on the movie, I'm not sure. But considering how well written the books are, I'm just going to turn to a random page right now. I'm going to read a random passage. And
it's story time. Shh.
All right. I'm promising. Peter stops reading, and a few people turn around. Some, like Christina, look at me in a pitying way, their eyebrows drawn in, their mouths turned down at the corners. But most give me little smirks and eye one another suggestively. Peter turns last with a wide smile. "Give me that," I say, holding out my hand. My face burns. But I'm not done reading, he replies, laughter in his voice. His eyes can span the paper again. However, perhaps the answer lies not in a morally bereft man, but in the corrupted ideals of an entire faction. Perhaps the answer is that we have entrusted our city to a group of proselytizing tyrants who do not know how to lead us out of poverty into prosperity. You think she had to bust out the thesaurus for that one?
Oh, yeah.
You know when authors are using words that are not part of their everyday vocabulary, when they, like, it's not something that you can directly articulate, but when you read it back, it always...
Forced sophistication.
Yeah. You're not so erudite.
Erudite.
So, but...
Thanks, Gavin. Oh, yeah. And for context, Gavin actually got this to him for Christmas. He wrapped it and everything. He wrapped it. I watched him wrap it. That's part of, that's, I feel bad for that too. I know, I feel responsible.
You could have warned me.
Like, I may have provided the wrapping paper.
There are only two realistic ways this movie could have gone, and this was the better of the two.
Yeah.
But don't take this to mean that it's an actual good movie, or even if it's a passable movie when it's not. It's just this overblown special effects laden noxious movie that just makes you feel like you're wasting your time, and that's what it is. It's a waste of time. That's the perfect summation of the movie. It's a fucking waste of time. I can't even say this is the worst movie I've seen this year. Not really. I mean, well, you asked me point blankly in my internal math, like, what would you rather see again? And it's like, I'd rather see this movie than
50 Shades of Black?
Yeah.
Really? You'd rather see this than 50 Shades of Black?
I know, when I say it out loud, it made
I think 50 Shades of Black was shorter. Pretty sure.
Yeah, it was shorter, but it was way dumber.
That's true.
Way fucking dumber, and like...
I guess you come out less scathed.
It's not even scathed. It's just like, at least, like when you're watching a movie on the television, and you have and somebody walks in, what do you think they'll be more embarrassed by? You watching Allegiant or you watching 50 Shades of Black?
Okay, that's true.
So by that reason alone, I would rather sit through Allegiant than 50 Shades of Black, But I do not make that statement without thinking for a moment that Allegiant could usurp 50 Shades of Black as the worst movie you've seen this year.
Yeah.
But it hasn't.
There was something we saw worse than 50 Shades of Black. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Maybe.
What was it?
Like, Risen wasn't nearly that bad. Risen was not nearly as bad as 50 Shades of Black. I think 50 Shades...
No. It wasn't as bad.
No. Oh, The Revenant. That was it. That was the movie.
That was the one, The Revenant.
God. What a terrible piece of shit movie.
Ugh. The bear rape scene. Where Leonardo rapes a bear. That was really...
I know. I mean, very brave of Leo to do. To find a...
I mean...
You're like, he's so brave. So brave. I think we're just speaking nonsense at this point. So if you got through this far into the video and you haven't figured out what our true feelings are in this movie... Till next time.